Rebirth. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur, dhruvam janmamritasya cha, tasmat apiriharyate, natvam shochitum arhasi. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who has died, birth is certain. Since you cannot avoid either fate, you should not lament. This is a verse from Bhagavad Gita I like a lot, and it's quite evident from our own sensory perspective that everything that has a beginning has an end. And every living being has taken birth in this world, and every living being has to leave this world via the doors of death. And then from a larger perspective, then every being that has died is destined to take birth again in some form or other, in some dimension or other. And this is the cycle of samsara, the samsara chakra, the wheel of birth and death. So the spiritual practitioner is trying to adjust their paradigm in such a way that they can understand and always be conscious of the transient nature of this world and not become attached to any of these things, since they are transient by nature. So for an eternal being to try and invest energy into deriving happiness from a source that is temporary is just a logical fallacy. It's implausible and unintelligent. Yet all of us, that's what we're trying to do here. As eternal beings, we're trying to become happy through engaging these bodies which are temporary. We're trying to engage with other bodies and possessions which are all temporary and transient. So the yogi sees with his transcendental vision that how can something that is temporary and transient make something that is eternal happy? And therefore the search for eternal happiness goes not in looking into anything temporary and material, but turning towards an eternal energy, an eternal object or source from which the internal individual can eternally derive increasing amounts of bliss and knowledge and illumination. So in this picture, what's being depicted is Krishna's uncle, Akrura, has come from a not so far away city called Mathura. He's come to Vrindavan, a little village where he was staying, to collect Krishna and his brother Balaram. They were supposed to go to the evil king Kamsa to participate in a wrestling match which has been arranged for them. And what we see here is Akrura with a white beard sitting on the horse driving the chariot, and Krishna and Balaram is attempting to climb onto the chariot because it's their fate, it's their destiny. And what we're seeing is all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the cowherd girls, the cowherd boys, his parents, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, how they're all lamenting on the sight of seeing Krishna and Balaram leave. Every single person in that village has a very intimate connection to Krishna and Balaram, and therefore they can't tolerate even the thought of them being separate from each other. So they, in various ways, they're dealing with this experience of having to say goodbye to them by either falling on the ground in helpless tears or trying to stop the horses from leaving. Some of them even jumped in front of the horses in an attempt to stop them. Some of them were grabbing hold of Krishna and Balaram in an attempt to force them not to climb into the chariot. So this level of attachment is not material. This is a spiritual expression that they're showing towards Source. And this is the type of consciousness that the yogi is attempting to develop, is this attachment to Source, this constant meditation on Source, and in this way, through that meditation, always having union. This is called Samadhi, when at every single moment one is just in full cognizance of the spiritual divinity that we are and our connection to Source. So this is the perfection of yoga, is to attain such a state when one is always in remembrance and thoughtfulness of the divine.